Hello and welcome to After the Whistle. I am your host, Brian Dorrington, here with Manchester by the Sea, Mukala Kabungo.
I like that movie, actually.
Yeah, that's a good one, right?
Yeah.
It was. Oh, wow, we got a little
we definitely got an
dysfunction
echo.
in the speakers.
I don't know. That's not me.
All right, we're going to have to start over because he's not. Okay. Well, maybe we'll just keep rolling with it. The green screen was in the background at first. Pedro's a little bit frazzled back there. I know he's hungry. He came in and asked. We'll roll with this. We won't start it over, okay, folks? All right, let's jump right into the Patriots versus Chiefs game. Pretty much what everybody thought it was going to be.
Game of the week.
Shootout, game of the year. There hasn't been a better game this year so far. Shootout. Patriots ended up winning it with a last-minute field goal, 43-40. What's your take on the game?
My take on the game was Patrick Mahomes is the real deal. Tyreek Hill is very, very fast. And the Patriots are not dead in the waters like people thought they were after the Detroit Lions lost. You were a little worried. I wasn't.
I was worried.
You were a little worried after that game. I wasn't worried. I said the Patriots will be fine. We see this every single year in the first month. And for some reason, Kansas City just matches up with them. Every single time they play Kansas City just moves the ball very well against them. They just have a matchup against them. There was that one year the Patriots went to Kansas City and got ran out the building.
I remember, and that's when everybody was that 2015 or 16?
2014, 15, yeah.
People said it was over for the Patriots.
Yeah, that's when it was over. Then last year, Kansas City came opening night and ruined the ring ceremony. And this year was once again the Patriots. They got to Patrick Mahomes a bit in the first half. They confused him they got the interception. He never saw Hightower. Hightower disguised that very well.
And then he embarrassed him with leaping over him at the end too. To add insult to injury.
And then right before the half, he forced a pass. He should have just thrown it out of bounds and take the three, but he forced a pass. It got intercepted. But I like how he came back in the second half. He was aggressive. He didn't let those two interceptions get him down. So overall, this was a very well played football game by both teams.
And I think this is the type of game that the NFL wants. Over 940 yards of offense, over 83 points scored. It's going towards an offensive, pass-heavy, big play league, and that's what makes this game so exciting. I mean, this was one of those defense optional games. Although our defense, they played very well in the first quarter. What was it, 24-9?
Yeah.
And then they did what I said you couldn't do: give up the big play. And it was Tyreek Hill. Man, that guy has speed, and so does Kareem Hunt. Those are two dangerous guys that even if you double cover him, we saw a couple times he was just able to outrun everybody, no matter how deep you put him. So
on those long touchdown passes, you saw it. Kareem Hunt, when he went out the backfield, Mahomes scrambled, which is one thing you can't let him do is let him scramble. He scrambled about more time and just found him down the sideline. And then the tying touchdown to tie the game at 40, that was just one play, boom. I don't know what happened with the defense. The safety got turned around and he lost. I don't know what happened with the safety.
Is that what we're watching right here? Yeah, that's the one right there. Yeah, I don't know what happened there either, but you could tell that he was very deep.
And that still had no effect.
Still didn't matter. But we were able to come back. I think the Chiefs are going to be in every single game they play this year because of that explosive offense. And they're probably going to get a few more games bumped to prime time because they are fun to watch.
And I just like watching Mahomes. This guy is really he's he's in line to be one of the next superstar quarterbacks in the league. Him and Jared Goff right now, I think. A lot of the young quarterbacks, they're stepping up. We got Jared Goff, he's stepping up. We got Mahomes, he's stepping up.
Well, we've got a guy we can talk about in a little bit next week that we face this week. Mitchell Trubisky. He's been stepping it up.
That's a guy we've had questions on. Yep. Another one, Josh Rosen. He's actually been playing very well, despite
there's a lot smaller sample size.
Small sample, but he's been playing. The time he's gotten out there, he's been playing very well. I like what I've seen from him. Some of the other ones we won't talk about, but the young quarterbacks definitely making their names in this league. But Mitchell Trubisky,
Yeah. Well, we'll get
Bears.
to them later. I still want to talk about this game because we didn't even talk about Tom Brady's amazing rushing touchdown that was the most unathletic athletic play if that I've ever seen one, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
It will go down. Who was the defender? I can't think of him. I forget his name, but he just let him go. And that's because that's the new NFL. You know, these guys are afraid to be able to take the quarterback down and drag him to the league. So that's what I'm saying. This is the type of game that the NFL wants, where defensemen are scared to take down a quarterback, you know, who might have already thrown the ball.
And you saw him on the sideline. He was really upset. He was very, very sad from what happened because he knew he had him.
Yeah.
He had him. All he had to do was just hold on to him or something. But I mean, yeah, he was scared of getting the flag. Although there was a flag anyways on that play. There was a holding There was a holding play on the defense. Somebody was holding, so it would have been it would have been a first down anyways. You know, a lot of people were trying to say that cost the Chiefs the game, but
I don't know about that.
They don't realize that there was a flag that was thrown in that play. But yeah, it's one of those moments. Brady and his running is one of the funniest things that we could ever watch because he is extremely slow.
It is funny, but he's willing to put his body on the line.
Yeah.
You know, he went in, he dove in. I think that really amped people up. It was great to see Julian Edelman get back and score, get on the board. Rob Gronkowski was limited, but he came out at the end and ended up with close to 100 yards receiving on the
big
day.
Big play at the end of the game to get them into field goal range. You know, Gronk is just, I mean, he's the best tight end in the NFL. I don't know why people think Travis Kelce is the best tight end in the NFL. Travis Kelce is slow. Travis Kelce can't block. Travis Kelce is just not as good as Gronk. I don't know why anyone would actually think that he and Gronk are in the same class.
Well, if you're looking at the numbers at this season, Kelce, I think Kelce and Ertz are both putting up better offensive numbers, but that doesn't make them better tight ends. It's still early in the season, and you're right, they don't block.
They don't get double
and they're not getting double. Well, Kelce does get double some teams, but you're right, not as often as Gronk. I still think Gronk is the best tight end. People who say that are maybe short-sighted or just looking at the numbers and don't watch the entire games. But Gronk is still the premier tight end, and I think he will be until he decides to retire.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, so let's move on to the Bears versus the Dolphins, and we're talking about this game because it was an oh my God moment, and we are facing the Bears this week. So why don't you start off? What's your take on this one?
The Bears had the game handed to them. It was handed to them on a platter. You know, the Dolphins drove down in OT. They got to the 1 yard line, and the guy fumbles at the 1 yard line, the one place you can't fumble. Then the Bears are driving down the field. They get into Dolphins territory, and they become conservative. The play calling just was. They decided to run, and just conservative play calling and trust the kicker, which this is one thing I always say, never ever trust the kicker because they will screw it up. And it was about a 50-something yard field goal. The coach didn't even bother to try to get closer. He just, once they got into Dolphins territory, it was like he was content with that. He thought he'd get a few more yards, and he put his trust in the kicker. I called it too. I said he's gonna miss it because it was just way too far, and just the way it was going, I'm just like this guy's gonna miss it. Especially with the play calling that was happening, it was gonna miss it. And then the Dolphins, they moved the ball down the field, they get into the field goal range, kick the game-winning field goal. But the Bears had ample opportunity to win this game. They let it go, and you know the Dolphins, they needed this win, but the Bears, they could have made a big statement with this win. They could have been a couple games ahead in their division, and now they got a tough road ahead of them the next couple weeks. They're playing some tough opponents. So this game, this is one they let get away.
Yeah, well, you know, they made a lot of mistakes. I just looked this fact up. I don't know if you saw this. The Bears missed 19 tackles. Okay, so they were touted as having this great defense. Khalil Mack did not get a sack in this game. I think that the fact that they were torn apart by Brock Osweiler and Albert Wilson. Osweiler had 3 TDs at 380 yards and 2 interceptions. Yeah. It kind of dispels that myth that the Bears are this great defense, you know, up there with the Rams or the Vikings. They're not there yet. They have arguably the best defensive player in the league, but I don't think top to bottom, they're a defense that scares me going into this week.
No, especially when you're the likes of Brock Osweiler. You let that guy throw over 300 yards on you. Brock Osweiler.
Almost 400.
Brock Osweiler is a turnover machine. If you could put him and Nathan Peterman playing together. These guys, these are probably the two worst quarterbacks. If you're a defender, you would be happy to see these two quarterbacks. And for them to let Osweiler do that is just terrible. The only good thing they have for them coming into this week is they're playing at home. That's the only good thing. But they're gonna have their hands full after the Patriots look at the film and see what the Dolphins were able to do against that defense. And the key is, once again, the key to the Bears is stopping Khalil Mack.
Absolutely.
You gotta double team him. You can't leave him one-on-one. That's just one guy you can't leave one-on-one. So if the Patriots can control Khalil Mack, they'll control the game, and I think they'll be able to do that.
And that's one of the notes I have. Okay, so let's actually jump into the Pats-Bears preview. What are some things that we should be looking for in this game?
Speed kills, and Taylor Gabriel.
Taylor Gabriel, he's got Tyreek Hill speed. I'm not saying he's nearly as good as him.
But he's fast.
But he is fast.
And receivers that give the Patriots problems are speedy receivers, and he's one of them. So he's one guy you got to key in. Their running game, too. The Bears have a solid running game. They have two backs that are interchangeable. Different types and also the quarterback. The quarterback has been playing a lot better. Mm-hmm. He's looking like an NFL quarterback now. So the Patriots defense are going to have their hands full. It's up to I think the offense will do what they did in the first half against the Chiefs, run the ball, keep Mahomes. They kept Mahomes on the sideline most of the game. So I think they're going to do the same with the Bears. Just pound them, wear them down until fourth quarter that's when they separate. But for the Patriots on defense, they have to key on Taylor Gabriel, Burton, the tight end, and the two backs. Those are some of the keys they have to.
Well, that's a lot to. I mean, you're listing a lot of weapons there. I think this is probably pretty much a very similar of the Chiefs, but not nearly as good. You got Gabriel, who's like Tyreek Hill, but not as good. You got Tariq Cohen, who is like Kareem Hunt, but not as good. You have Trey Burton, who's like Travis Kelce, but just not as good. Yeah. And then you have Mitch Trubisky, who's like Patrick Mahomes, but not as good. Guys, it's pretty similar. It really is, because Mitch Trubisky, he's a young guy, he's got a big arm, and he's fast, and he can move out of the pocket. Yeah, keep him in the pocket. But to me, the biggest thing is, we talked about, you're right, Khalil Mack. We don't know if Marcus Cannon is going to be playing this week. And Marcus Cannon is the guy that's really, it will be his responsibility to do it. If not, it's going to be Waddle. Yeah. So I think you're going to have to double team anyway. Yeah. I think you're going to have Gronk chip him a lot on the routes.
Definitely.
So I don't think Gronk will have as big a game as he usually does or might, just because he's going to be asked to keep Khalil Mack in check. I think we'll see a lot of Devlin, and I do agree. I think we'll pound the ball with Sony Michel and James White, because this team can run the ball. Yeah, the Patriots can absolutely run the ball. They haven't really been built to be a running team in the past, although they've always had a great running game. But to me, this seems like a team that's really built to run right now.
Yeah, definitely. And also, we got to look at what the Patriots will do with Gronk, because the Bears have linebackers who can run. They got a few linebackers.
Yeah, Roquan Smith, the fast rookie.
Yeah, they got some linebackers who can run. Their secondary is a little questionable. I mean, they got Kendall Fuller. He's a solid defensive back. So Prince Amukamara, I don't know if he's always injured, but I don't know his status for this game. But they got some defensive backs that that can present problems. But if you get the right protection, I think there's plays to be made against the secondary.
There is, and we should just be pointing out the Patriots over the past 3 games are averaging almost 40 points a game. So the offense is doing it through the air, on the ground, and they're making very few mistakes. And I think the Patriots are right back on track. All my worry is completely gone. I'll admit it when I'm wrong. I should not have been worried. It was way too easy in season. And that echo is gone too. My worry and the echo that we've been hearing has been relieved.
All right. Now to the undefeated. The only undefeated team left in the league is the St. Louis. Los Angeles Rams. These guys, they went into Denver, a tough place to play, and it was the Todd Gurley show. Todd Gurley ran wild on them. Denver, they're just not what they used to be. They don't have a quarterback. That's their biggest problem. They don't have a quarterback, and their defense is not as good as it was. But the Rams, they showed you once again that they could win in several ways. Todd Gurley with over 200 yards on the ground. Jared Goff made key plays here, but Todd Gurley is the engine to that team. He makes that team goals. And I've already said it before. I think so far he's my MVP right now.
He's definitely up there. Mine's Drew Brees at this point, but very well could be.
But Gurley had a solid game against them, and it was a game that they needed to run the ball. It was cold out there. You know, they wasn't doing much in the passing game like they were, so it was a game that they needed to run the ball a lot, and you know, a lot of productivity from Todd Gurley.
But it was a close game.
Close game.
It was a close game.
Nothing
Rams,
wrong with those. You
learn.
learn.
It's not. Yeah, you definitely learn from those. And the Rams are undefeated. This is not a 16-0 team. They're not. They got a tough schedule coming up. Listen to their next 5 games. They got the 49ers, which is winnable, but then they got the Packers, the Saints, the Seahawks, and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I mean, those are 4 solid contenders right in a row.
If they go 3-1 in that thing, this team is.
If they go 3-1
or 2-2 even.
Yeah, if they split those, then that's a huge success for them. I do see a loss in their future. I don't think that this is going to be the undefeated Patriots.
I see the loss going at Kansas City.
That game is going to be played in what is it? It's not Wembley. It's someplace else.
Yeah, UK, whatever.
Some other country.
The Saints one too. That one.
Those are going to be tough games. But right now they are the best team in the league. They deserve to be the number 1 in all the power rankings. I don't see how you could make a case for them not to be up there.
Yeah, definitely. And you know, Sean McVay.
It's
good to have a young coach with a young quarterback. They seem to be clicking. He's clicking with his entire team. Robert Woods is having a breakout season, and this guy, when he was in Buffalo, he was just like, really? But now he's their big play receiver now. So
and we said it last week. They got the best wide receiver trio in the NFL between Cooks, Kupp, and Woods. I think those 3 guys are great. And then you got Gurley at the backfield and Jared Goff, who is living up to was he first or second overall?
I think he was the first.
First overall pick. He's living up to that. And a lot of people doubted his first year.
Jeff Fisher was the problem.
Jeff Fisher was the problem. He's been a problem a lot of places that he went to. Let's talk about another problem team, probably the biggest problem team now. And
remember what I said?
What's this finger wagging?
Remember I said, I was saying earlier this season, you can't trust the Jaguars, mainly because you can't trust that quarterback. And you can't, you just can't trust this team. They're just not.
This was not just the quarterback.
No, it wasn't. This was a meltdown everywhere.
Dallas put up 40 points.
On that great defense.
Let me just tell you what this great defense has done. Apparently that wasn't muted, but that's okay. So the Cowboys. So in the first week they played the Giants. They put up 20 points. Next they played the Seahawks. They put up 13. 26 versus the Lions. 16 versus the Texans. 40 versus the Jaguars. Okay, so you're telling me that this elite defense is giving up 40 points to a team that's averaging around 20 points a game. Like it's just crazy. This defense is done.
Someone said it best. They are front runners. That defense is a front running defense. If they get you out in the lead, that's when they go. That's when they do their thing. But when you hit them in the mouth, when you get on top of them, when you make them do things that they're not normally accustomed to doing, they just fold. And we saw this. They fold. There was one play I saw, I think Cole Beasley ran across for his first touchdown.
Beasley was tearing it up.
And Jalen Ramsey just stopped and didn't even bother to tackle him. He just stopped. So, hey, man, this team, all the talk they were doing, all the talk the defense was doing, they're looking like a mediocre team right now. And also, it doesn't help that your quarterback can't get the ball down the field. That's the first problem. Second problem is you don't have receivers that can go down the field. You don't have any receivers that actually scare you unless they're playing the Patriots. That's apparently the only time they actually do anything. But other than that, Leonard Fournette's always hurt. T.J. Yeldon is a good back, but he's not a back that can carry the load. So this team offensively is very, very limited, and they just are what they are. They're a mediocre team right now with a mediocre quarterback. You're not going to get anywhere with what they got.
Yeah, I think there's also a case of the defense buying into their own hype. Yeah. They weren't. Everybody was talking about how great they were, but then they were talking about how great they were too. Especially Jalen Ramsey. You can't do that when you get built and you become so confident and to the point where you're cocky, where Jalen Ramsey is. You got to back it up week to week. 40 points, getting beat up by Cole Beasley.
Cole Beasley out of all people.
9 receptions, 101 receiving yards, 2 touchdowns. When you're getting beat by Cole Beasley, don't tell me Rob Gronkowski is not that good. Okay?
Yeah, and
because you're getting beat up by Cole Beasley.
And you let a team that was averaging 16 points a game put up 40 on you.
Yeah, something
40. That's terrible.
But I do
that whole division's terrible.
That whole division is terrible. I do want to give Dak Prescott some credit because he did play well.
Yeah.
He has very limited weapons. You want to talk about bad wide receivers?
Well,
but what he did is he started to use his legs more. He put up 82 yards rushing, and he scored a rushing TD as well. He's got to run the ball more. He's got to take it into his hands because he has no weapons, and he did improve this week. For sure.
That's because they ran the ball more.
It's because they ran the ball more. Ezekiel Elliott played out of his mind.
Yeah.
But this was more about the Jaguars' failings, I think, than the Dallas actually being a good team.
Cowboys fans have been annoying this week. Now they think they're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah, Cowboys fans, they're one of the worst.
Oh, no, they're better than Philly fans.
Just a little bit better. The man made his return, Nathan Peterman.
Oh, yeah.
Your favorite NFL quarterback. He made his return,
The best.
in Nathan Peterman fashion, he basically lost his team the game with a pick six with about a minute to go after his defense had just made a nice, solid stop at the goal line, forcing them to kick a field goal. And then, boom, right? He telegraphed the pass. If you looked at that play, Tyrann Mathieu just ran. He didn't even, once the ball was hiked, he ran to Calvin Benjamin, to where Calvin Benjamin was, and Jonathan Joseph picked it off. Pick six, game over, goodbye. And Nathan Peterman.
We were just talking about this off air, how we almost feel bad that they keep putting him on the field, which is why it's good that Derek Anderson is going to get the start, somebody who they just brought in over Nathan Peterman. Let's just hope Derek Anderson doesn't get hurt because it's just an embarrassment. I'm starting to feel bad for Nathan Peterman. If you go on Twitter, if you've read, Googled Nathan Peterman, you've seen the stats that they throw out. This is just, one of my favorites. So on 82 passing attempts in his NFL career, he has 10 interceptions. That's an interception rate of 12.2%. That is the highest in the modern era of quarterbacking. The poor guy, he shouldn't be in the NFL.
No, at all. He's not an NFL
He's not
quarterback.
in the CFL. We said that he could probably play arena football.
He might have to go to Europe or something.
He might have to go to Europe, you're right. But just give the guy a break. Cut him. Please.
Because putting him out there is just embarrassing. It's embarrassment to him. It's an embarrassment to your organization.
And it's failing.
It's funny to us.
It's funny to us. Because he's still making $600,000 a year.
Just keep putting him in for my pleasures. Just put him in the game.
Okay, Mukala wants him in.
This game, Titans versus Ravens. Not much exciting about this game besides the fact that the Titans surrendered 11 sacks to the Ravens, a team that had, coming into this game, I believe they had 5 or 7 sacks coming into this game, and they were all over Mariota. The Titans are one of those teams I told you about. They're just one of those teams I just look at them just like, they're not really going to do much. Their quarterback is entering into he may be a bust because
I wouldn't say that.
He's entering.
I don't blame any of these sacks on him.
No. I'm just saying production-wise because he doesn't get the ball down the field that often. They don't have an explosive offense. It's a pounding type offense, but when they have opportunities to get the ball down the field, he's not really accurate and he doesn't get the ball. They just don't get the ball down the field. So, and in this type of NFL, you need to get the ball down the field. You need, especially if your receivers are getting open. So they just don't have the weapons that would scare you, and they're just one of those teams that are just there just to be there. They're not going to do much.
Well, they do have some of the weapons. I mean, Corey Davis should be an elite receiver. Derrick Henry should. I mean, he has shown that he can be a great running back. And it's funny how a couple weeks make such a big difference because everybody was saying, oh, the Titans are for real. The Titans are for real. Now they have this game where they just get blown out. And I think even worse than the amount of points, as you're right, is the 11 total sacks in a game. I mean, especially when your coach is Mike Vrabel, a defensive guy. He's seen that. But anyway, this is such a bad division that they're still on top.
Yeah.
They're 3-3. The Texans are 3-3. The Jaguars are 3-3. The Colts are 1-5. Colts are out. So this is anybody's division right here. I'm certainly not going to say I'm done on Tennessee and I'm done on Mariota, but this certainly was a pretty poor performance.
I'm entering that mode of being done on Mariota, and Yeah, we got some more Bills highlights right there.
What are we watching?
We're watching
highlights.
some more.
Oh, did we get? Is that some Peterman stuff there?
There goes the pick six, Peter.
Oh, there we go.
Man, what do we got next? We got the Bucks and Falcons, and what ended in an unusual ending to this game where they decided to do a lateral.
Seems like we're always talking about the NFC South, like
because they just do dumb things.
Yeah, I think that's true.
The last play of the game, I don't understand it. You have a 6'5" wide receiver, and you also have a speedy wide receiver, and you choose to do a draw play with Jameis Winston, where he then laterals it back so it could get to Deshaun Jackson. The ball doesn't get to him, and rightfully so, Deshaun Jackson takes off his helmet in anger. And I just don't know. Dirk Cutter should have been fired after this.
Yeah, he should have been fired after last week. I mean, he shouldn't really be a coach.
Like, look at this
He's
play.
a guy that I've given up on for sure. Yeah, that's it. That was right there. Oh my God.
That is terrible. But
then Watson.
I mean, it was low.
I mean, you got a shot there.
He had, but it was low. I mean.
Yeah. That's called Watson.
You called him Watson.
Jackson. Sorry. Deshaun Jackson, you had a chance.
They had a chance,
a little low.
It was just
it is
all
a dumb
terrible.
play. You know,
Very.
those are not easy to play. It doesn't even seem like it was planned out. It's something like you would do in a schoolyard. But you're right. You got Mike Evans, 6'5".
Take a shot at the end zone.
Take a shot at the end zone. Why not? So
I told you, and Jameis Winston is another guy who I think is entering the bust. He's entering into that bust realm because
did they come out the same year?
Yeah, him and both back-to-back picks.
Mariota and Winston.
Winston went first, Mariota went second, and Jameis is coming out as bust. He has receivers, and there's still a problem with getting the ball down the field to these fast receivers. And you're the number one pick. I haven't seen progression from him at all. At this point in your career, there should be some major progression in your offensive game, in your downfield throwing, and I just don't see it from him. And I don't know. He is what he is at this point.
To be fair, they are pretty predictable because they have no running game at all.
Yeah.
But you're right. And it's not only receivers, as they do have O.J. Howard, who's a great tight end, and Cameron Brate, who is also a pretty decent tight end as well. So they do have weapons for sure. Yeah, there's really no excuse. It's coaching and quarterback play with this team.
Yeah,
because they have the talent.
Yeah, Dirk Cutter got to go. Stop hiring these old coaches and get some new young coaches who are in it.
Look to college. Start looking to college, you know?
Yeah. Another young quarterback who the Giants should have taken, Sam Darnold.
Who the other New York team grabbed? Yeah.
Let's talk about both New York teams while we're at it right now.
So why not?
The Jets, they're playing solid football. Sam Darnold, he's been looking real good. He had another solid game against the Colts. He had got the ball down the field. They protected him well.
Robbie Anderson's starting to come out.
Yeah, so I think the Jets made the right decisions, and what the Giants failed to do is draft a quarterback. So
well, let's just say that he wouldn't have even been available had the Cleveland Browns not. And I'm still gonna say this. It's a mistake that they chose Baker Mayfield over. Donald,
yeah.
Okay, so
but at least they chose a quarterback.
At least they chose a quarterback. Correct. But yeah, I mean Sam Darnold. He seems like I think we both said this during the draft that he was the most pro-ready guy to step in there and play and win you some ball games, and he's doing that. And he does have some weapons. Robbie Anderson, a great receiver. They got 2 running backs. So this Jets team, the AFC East is not as bad as I thought it was going to be.
No.
Miami's 4-2 now. Okay,
but
so we know, but I know. But I'm just saying, this AFC East, we thought this was going to be the weakest division in football.
Yeah.
And it is not the weakest division in football right now.
And during the game, Darnold only had 1 interception. So, I mean. Now let's get to the Giants.
Yeah. Okay. So we're kind of blasting their pick with Saquon Barkley, who.
No, I'm not blasting it.
I know, but Saquon Barkley has played amazing.
Yeah.
He's setting records all over the place.
Yeah.
He's had like 200 yards from scrimmage every single game since he's been an NFL player.
Yeah.
He is an amazing talent.
Yeah, he's very talented. My thing was the Giants knew they needed a quarterback. They knew since last year that they needed a quarterback. They had the chance to get a quarterback.
Let me ask you this.
Saquon was not a bad pick, but
okay, let me just ask you this, though. This year, do you think they would have had a better chance to win with Sam Darnold and no Saquon Barkley, or Eli Manning and Saquon Barkley?
Sam Darnold and no Saquon Barkley.
Really?
Yeah, I think they would have had a better chance because he could get the ball down the field to his receivers. I mean, Eli's old. he doesn't have an offensive line, and Eli's not the runner.
Right. So okay.
Sam
So he doesn't
Darnold,
have an offensive line. Sam Darnold. What
he could at least escape. He could probably make some plays with his feet. Eli can't.
You're asking a lot for a rookie quarterback to do that.
Hey, when you have the receivers that the Giants have, I think Sam Darnold would have done a good enough job to make this team the Giants probably go 8-8 with Sam Darnold. But right now, they're just a hot mess, and they need to stop blaming OBJ for everything.
Well, he needs to stop talking and blaming his team for everything.
Oh, that whole team's dysfunctional. From the owner to the GM to Odell. It's just an organization that's dysfunctional, but they need to stop blaming Odell for everything. It starts with the GM, who poorly drafted offensive linemen previous years, one that didn't pan out. They just released one last week who was a number 9 overall pick. They knew they had issues with the offensive line, and they just woofed on a whole bunch of draft picks on offensive linemen. Number 2, they never got a replacement for Eli Manning. They knew last year Eli Manning was not that guy anymore. They knew last year when that benching occurred, and they decided to stick with him for another year. They saw he couldn't get the ball down the field.
But when you're looking around the league, I mean, there's only like 10 quarterbacks who I'd really want on my team starting a game.
Yeah.
Eli Manning has won 2 Super Bowls. Okay, he's a serviceable quarterback. I think they looked at this and they said, there's some good rookies, but we want to win this year. I think they thought that they had the ability to try to do something this year and get a few more years out of Eli Manning. How you do that? You add in a running back who has lived up and maybe even exceeded his potential.
Yeah.
But you think like Odell's in the clear here?
No, I don't think he's in the clear.
He's doing interviews with Lil Wayne, or is it Lil Wayne? Lil Wayne, and bashing the team and bashing his quarterback. So he's got to keep his mouth shut and play more. Okay?
I just think Odell is one of the many problems they have.
Correct.
They're making it seem like he is the problem.
No,
there's a long list of problems. And I want to start with Odell. I'd start with the offensive line. Mm-hmm. That's the major problem, because every time Eli drops back, he's getting sacked. You have fast wide receivers. You can't even get the ball to them because there's no time at all. So that's where I start.
What do you do? What do you do if you're the general manager?
Man, that's a tough question.
Because they're not going to win the division. They're not going to compete this year. It's time to clean house. I say.
Clean house. Tank.
Wait for maybe a quarterback to go down. Maybe you can get something for Eli Manning. I told you. I said it last week. I'll say it before. Teddy, you could. Yeah, maybe. I would absolutely get rid of Odell Beckham. Get 2 first-round draft picks maybe for him. Draft your quarterback next year. So I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. They need to change something up. But let me just tell you, I am so happy because I do not like the Giants after what they did to us in those Super Bowls.
All right, and then Monday night we had the Packers versus the 49ers in what was an exciting game, which the Packers got bailed out with a questionable holding call on Richard Sherman in the secondary that led them to continue on their drive. It was a 3rd down play. Sherman got called for a holding. The drive continued. Then Packers went down, kicked the game-winning field goal, and boom. I only put this up because, once again, after this game, national media and everybody else decided to claim that this guy, Aaron Rodgers, is the best quarterback in the game because of a comeback against a team that's 1-4.
Yeah.
And once again, I have to bring up the stats.
Here we go.
So you people can stop this.
I'm going to stay out of this one because you're fired up.
This is from 2000. This is beginning of year 2010. So I put Aaron Rodgers.
Pedro, can we get a close-up on him? We got to get him. Sorry, let's get him.
So, Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and Tom Brady. I have stats right here to show you that Aaron Rodgers hasn't even been the best quarterback in the league for a while. He's never been the best quarterback in the league. And here's to show you. Aaron Rodgers, since 2010, total yards, 29,701 yards. Tom Brady, 35,315 yards. Drew Brees, 39,799 yards. That's because they pass a lot, but still. Passing touchdowns, Rodgers, 254. Tom Brady, 263. Drew Brees, 286. Interceptions, Rodgers, 57. Brady, 61. Brees, 118. Quarterback rating, Rodgers 105, Brady 102, Brees 101. So those are the only things that Brady has the number on. Now, let's get into the playoffs.
Can we see wins and losses? That's really what it comes down to.
Wins and losses, it's not even close.
And I know,
but
to
let me
the point.
Playoffs when it counts. Brady 6,272 yards. Rogers 4,035. Breeze 3,293 games. He's played in 13 playoff games. Brady has played in 37. Rogers has played in about 17. So playoff touchdowns. Rogers 32. Brady 43. Breeze 16. Interception. Rogers 9. Brady 16. Breeze 7. And here's also Super Bowl appearances since 2010. Tom Brady 4. Aaron Rodgers since winning that 1 Super Bowl. None. Tom Brady 2 Super Bowl titles. Aaron Rodgers none. 0. Aaron Rodgers is not the best quarterback in the league. He hasn't been the best quarterback in the league ever. The numbers say it's been Brady all this time. So can we please stop with the Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the league? Stop it.
Okay, we just got the definitive argument for that. We got to stamp that, put that someplace. Maybe the Library of Congress archives. Show this around ESPN. Because that just ended the argument right there.
One more thing. They say Brady has always had a great defense. That's why he's always been winning. But Aaron Rodgers' defense got him 5 turnovers in the NFC Championship game against the Seattle Seahawks, and they lost the game. So
you're not. Are you looking for me to argue against you?
No.
You are 100% right.
I'm just saying. So where is this that Aaron Rodgers never has a defense? His defense got him 5 turnovers in a playoff in an NFC Championship game, and he lost the game. What happened? Somebody tell me.
That is a hot take from Mukala Kabungo. Yeah, I think he needs a little break after this.
Yes,
we'll go through our DraftKings lineup, and then we'll give Mukala a little bit of a break and some time to breathe and regain his thoughts because he is fired up. I can feel the smoke coming off him from here. All right, let's get into DraftKings, which you didn't do too well last week. I think I had a great week. And Craig conveniently forgot to enter his lineup.
Of course.
Of course, because we know how well he does in these things. Why don't we see your lineup first? Who you got?
So my lineup is going. I got Jared Goff as my quarterback. I think he's going to have a big game against the 49ers. Sony Michel, he's been consistent. Yep. Joe Mixon, watch out for him. That's another guy. He's been productive when he's out there. Marquise Goodwin, he's the 49ers' only big play maker. Tyreek Hill, of course. Deshaun Jackson, I think he's going to have a bounce-back game. Jordan Reed, Frank Gore, and the Texans defense because they're playing the Jaguars.
Why do they have photos for Jordan Reed or Frank Gore?
I have no idea.
They've been in the league for a long time.
I have no idea.
Both Pro Bowlers. Okay, that's an okay lineup. Mine's better, of course, as it has been virtually every single week, I think, besides one. I think I can denote myself the DraftKings King at this point. Would that be fair to say? DraftKings Prince?
You could get the title as a Prince.
Okay, I'll take the DraftKings Prince. Okay, so my team, I'm finally going to join and go with Patrick Mahomes. I can't not.
Nope.
He's at home. I'm sticking with my home quarterback with their top wide receiver, which of course is Tyreek Hill. Saquon Barkley, he's on my fantasy team in my leagues, and he has been having an amazing year. I got to start the guy. He's expensive, so I had to go cheaper on my other running back. I'm going with the veteran Adrian Peterson. He's only 4,600, and it's only because of his age. He's averaging almost 15 fantasy points per game, so he's a good pick. The big game threat, Robbie Anderson. We just talked about.
His hair?
Yeah, I don't think his hair really looks like that, does it? It's interesting. So we just talked about how Sam Donald's been playing better. He can get the ball downfield. Yeah. So Robbie Anderson, good choice there. This might surprise you, Michael Crabtree, but they're going up against New Orleans, who, again, as we say, NFC South, defense optional. David Njoku, it's a good safety blanket for a young quarterback in Baker Mayfield. And then Cole Beasley, who just tore it up against Jacksonville. Why not ride the hot hand? Yep. And then I'm going to go with the Chargers defense just because the Tennessee Titans did give up 11 sacks last week. Hopefully the Chargers can do something more. And Tennessee's traveling partially across the country to a different time zone, so that's always tough to play. And now, once you...
Time for Craig, Mr. I forgot to set my lineup.
Conveniently.
And he's going to tell us about this week's DraftKings lineups to set. So, to Craig whenever it's up there. And Brady's better than Rodgers.
There you go.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to No Huddle here on After the Whistle. I'm here to give you my DraftKings picks of the week. My name's Craig, and you can watch my show The Flex, Wednesday nights at 9, or on linntv.org, search The Flex for my fantasy football advice. But here today, I'm here to give you my DraftKings picks of the week. For quarterback, I went big, and I'm saying Drew Brees. They're going up against Baltimore, yeah. Tough defense, yeah. But he has so many weapons. Now he has 2 running backs who are great. I think Drew Brees is going to have a field day against Ravens, and I don't think their defense is going to do what they've been doing to everybody else. So I like Drew Brees this week. For my running backs, Christian McCaffrey versus Philly. Yeah, Philly has a good defense, but Christian McCaffrey is the man. That kid is doing big things, and he was the least expensive running back I could get to. And I followed that up with Joe Mixon. Joe Mixon he's a monster. You know what I'm saying? You thought he wasn't doing too well, and then what does he do? Bam! Runs it in for a touchdown. Get you into that double digits, just under that 20 marker. And this week he's going up against Kansas City. Oh, he's going to break 20 this week. I'm looking at 25, 26 points for Joe Mixon. Guaranteed. I'm not guaranteeing anything. Then when you go to the wide receivers, Tyler Boyd. He's the man. He's going up against Kansas City. And Kansas City's just letting everything go. So expect Tyler Boyd to get at least 1 touchdown, and I think he might break the century mark this week against the Kansas City Chiefs. I also like, just because he was cheap, I went with Sammy Watkins. They're going up against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defense isn't good, so look for Sammy Watkins to possibly get a touchdown. But he's definitely going to get some touches, and I think he's going to get a deep pass. So I like Sammy Watkins a lot, and Cincinnati's defense is giving up everything. Another pick I think it might be a risk, but I'm going with Deshaun Jackson. Jameis Winston's looking good. Deshaun Jackson really hasn't been disappointing. Cleveland's defense is good, but I feel like they're going to spend a lot of time focusing on Mike Evans, leaving Deshaun Jackson to get me that touchdown, possibly 2. And Deshaun Jackson's the reason why the Bucs lost last week. He's going to want to look to make up for that. For my tight end, I'm going with Trey Burton. Call me a trader all you want, but the Pats defense is not about stopping. They're about outscoring. So Trey Burton is going to be a tight end that I really like this week. Cordell Patterson in the flex. And everybody's going to be like, Cordell Patterson, what are you talking about? What do you mean, what am I talking about? Chicago's defense, they're going to be coming at Tom Brady all day. He's going to want to get the ball out fast. And who is better to throw the ball to in a short screenplay than Cordell Patterson? Nobody. Maybe James White, but Cordell Patterson is the man this week, and you can get him for cheap money, and I bet he scores a touchdown. And then when I get to the defense, my top defense for the week is going to be the Vikings for the cost. They're a little bit cheaper, which allows you to spread that money around for the other guys a little bit. So I'm going with the Vikings defense. They're going to get at that rookie quarterback. They're going to sack him. And I'm pretty sure they're going to get an interception. All those sacks are going to frustrate him, and he's going to throw the wrong pass. So these are my picks. Drew Brees, Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Sammy Watkins, Tyler Boyd, Deshaun Jackson, Trey Burton, Cordell Patterson, and the Vikings defense. So those are my DraftKings picks of the week. I hope if you follow my advice that you win. And until next week, my name's Craig. This is No Huddle. Watch my show, The Flex, Wednesday nights at 9. And until next week, good luck.
And we are back. Thank you, Craig. Remember to set your lineup this time, Craig.
Yeah,
Get it together, Craig. All right, we're going to go into a +1. We have Lynn English High alum, just like me, Allana Barefield. She's the reporter. She's a fellow with the Undefeated. She just got a fellowship with the Undefeated. So I chatted with her. This was a good one. Welcome to another edition of +1 Interview. Today we have a special guest. We have Allana Barefield. She's here. She's calling in from wherever she's calling in the world because she's always all over the place. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys today?
Yeah, we're good. Just another day here in cold Massachusetts, you know.
Okay, so I'm actually in New Orleans right now, so the opposite of cold.
Yeah, aren't you fortunate? So how's everything going with you?
It's good. Finishing up my last year at the University of Louisiana. I signed on with the Undefeated, ESPN The Undefeated.
Yeah.
So yeah, life is good.
Yeah, what role to be taking on at the Undefeated?
So right now, I'm a fellow, covering issues within New Orleans, covering social, race, the culture, and doing some video work with them.
All right, awesome. Yeah, you've been covering the Saints so far this season. So far, tell me a little bit what you've seen from the Saints so far.
Well, I'm always through that nation. The Saints has always been a team that I've looked up to since I was a little girl. Sorry, but yeah, the Patriots has never done it for me. But no, I feel like we will make it to the Super Bowl. Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
It was kind of rocky in the beginning when they went up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The defense was kind of low, but they're turning it around. So I see a lot of good things happening for them.
Yeah, you've been around a couple of those NFC South teams. You were at the Bucs training camp. What have you seen from the Bucs? You know, are you kind of surprised of where they are now from the camp?
I am. A lot of people, when I lived in Tampa, they would joke around saying that their NFL team wasn't the greatest. So I think they're kind of shaking things up. Jameis was out for a while, and having Fitzpatrick kind of being that main guy kind of changed the game, kind of changed of what the Buccaneers are looking like, and a new image for them. So I think it's great for them. And who knows? Maybe they'll be in the Super Bowl. We'll have to see. Yeah,
we'll definitely have to see. I don't know. For me, with Jameis Winston, I think he's kind of getting on the border of being a bust because his productivity and trying to get the ball down the field to receiver, it's just not happening.
No, it's not. So having those other key players stepping up to the plate is what that team needs and what every other team needs.
Definitely. Talk a little about the story that you did on one of the Jets players who went to an HBCU that you recently posted.
So Isaiah Crowell, basically we just wanted he had one of his best games being a Jet, and we knew that he went to an HBCU, so we kind of just looked at the story of, okay, now he's a Jets player. What advice can he give to another HBCU athlete who wants to move up to the ranks? Also, what's the differences of, PWIs and HBCUs for him? And it was nice to talk to him. It's nice to see that there is representation of HBCU players in the league. Because, of course, HBCU athletes, we're never looked at. And just for him to still represent his HBCU is something that I think a lot of players need to do.
I think there's kind of been like a wave of HBCU players getting into the NFL and kind of making a big splash. What do you make of that?
Yeah, it's increasing, definitely. And I think what's happening is that more scouters are looking at these HBCUs and saying, hey, just because I go to this school doesn't mean that I can't compete at the highest level. It's more of the leagues are opening up their minds and opening up, looking at different aspects and not just going to the big schools like Georgia, big PWIs like West Virginia State, Miami. They're looking at all aspects.
Yeah. Definitely. Now, speaking of you're about to graduate pretty soon. So, like, you have this thing with the Undefeated. So, what's the future for you holding?
That's a good question. Wherever it takes me, every year, one year I'm in Kentucky, the next year I'm in New York, or I know that I want to be a digital reporter, still want to be on camera, but to be able to write, like Janelle Hill, like Gwen Eifel, how they started in broadcast, but then transitioned. Well, they started in newspaper, then transitioned to broadcast.
Yeah.
That's what I kind of want to do. So, I don't know. I'll let you know in a couple more months.
Yeah. And also, you were also one of the recipients for the Beyonce HBCU scholarship. Can you just talk about the importance of that?
Oh, well. The scholarship, I've worked so hard within my college career, from getting Laney's internship and being a leader on my campus, but also in the community.
Yeah.
And getting that scholarship, it was a full circle for me, and it really made sense that all my work is paying off. And also, it just showed, that I am somebody and I am a leader, and it also helps with, when my mom's saying that it's always hard every year trying to write a check. And for her to, get that pressure off of her this year, because my mom is a single mom, because my dad passed away junior year of high school, so it's always been hard on her every year.
Yeah. Well.
And Beyonce is my favorite artist.
Okay. You were part of that Bayhive, that crazy Bayhive.
Yes, I definitely am.
All right, Allana, appreciate you calling. Appreciate talking to you. We'll see each other at some point, as we always do. But proud of everything you're doing. Keep doing your thing. And also, Allana's a Lynn English High alum, just like me. So we gotta hold it, represent for Lynn English.
Of course.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right, Allana, you take care. I'll see you at NABJ.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, bye. All right, everybody, that was our +1 with Allana Barefield. We're going to toss it back to Brian.
All right, welcome back. Another great +1. Like to see Lynn graduates, Lynn people doing great things. So congratulations, Allana. And we only got a few minutes left. This always goes a lot faster than
because we rambled too much about
football.
football.
We rambled too much about football. Let's do a short little ramble about the Celtics in their first game against the 76ers.
Started off. Always good to start the season off with a W. They played the first couple minutes of the game was kind of hard to watch. There was a lot of missed layups. It was pretty much sloppy basketball as you would expect for the first game of the season. Also, this was all of these guys' first times being on the court together since game 1 last year. So different team, but they did play well. Jason Tatum, this guy is the next superstar in this league. This guy, he has everything. He's got the jump shot going. It looked like he worked on that a lot. He said he put on 7 pounds. So I liked what I saw last night. Kyrie Irving didn't have a great game, only made 2 shots. Gordon Hayward was 4 of 12, but the bench came up big. The Celtics are deep. They have everything they can. They have everything you need for a championship run. And once it all comes together, we'll see where this team goes. But always good to start the season off with a win, and it was a big win for them against Philadelphia, which always good to start the season off on a good note. Golden State opened the season up against OKC. Steph Curry, 32 points, 5 of 9 from the 3-point line, greatest shooter ever, and this team is they're just gonna be bored throughout the regular season. Once the playoff comes, we're going to see them turn it up a notch, but they're going to cruise through the regular season, and then once the playoff comes, then we're going to see the real Golden State Warriors. I don't see nobody in the West that's really going to challenge them. People are saying Houston, no. The Lakers, no. Utah, maybe.
Let me just ask you this. Do the Celtics have the depth? Because
they do have
looking at this, the Celtics seem like they even have more depth than the Warriors.
Yes,
the amount of guys, the ability to roll out all of those different lineups in the role players. It seems like, everybody knows the superstars on Golden State. And there's some superstars on the Celtics too, but it just seems to me that the Celtics just have more in the bank than any other team in the NBA.
Yeah, if anything that's going to derail the Warriors, it's going to be their depth. They're not really that deep. That's because of the whole KD thing.
Well, you can't be when you spend so much money on these
so they're not going to be that deep, but their offense is so explosive that they don't need to be that deep. So, fatigue might play, and you're going to have to wear them out. And the Celtics, I think they have...
They're a team that can.
They have
defense wears good offense.
Yeah, so we'll see as the season goes on, but good note to start. Good way to start the season. Now, the Red Sox took a 2-1 lead against the Houston Astros last night.
We filmed this on Wednesday,
Jackie
remember?
Bradley Jr. hit the grand slam
JBJ.
in about the 8th inning.
I know that now.
In the top of the 8th inning, that pretty much sealed the game. The Red Sox, they lost the first game, but they bounced back, won these 2 games, and they're just 2 more wins away from the World Series. And if they keep swinging the bats the way they're doing, we might see them in the World Series by the end of this week, because this team is dangerous. Their pitching, their pitching was pretty solid. Only gave up 2 runs, so it was a good game.
Did you watch it?
I watched parts of it. Yeah. I can't watch the entire baseball game.
We've both said it several times on air. I just
had
to ask you.
It was
I actually listened to it on the radio, believe it or not.
Solid
which
game.
was interesting. It was the first time listening to baseball on the radio.
Yeah, and also the Dodgers and the Brewers. The Dodgers took a 2-1 lead against the Brewers. That one is going to be interesting. The Brewers, they always have issues with the pitching. That's their problem, but they got the talent. The Dodgers, the Brewers, they got the solid pitching. The Dodgers, their pitching, they have Clayton Kershaw, but in the playoffs, he's like, But they're trying to get back to the World Series and win it since they lost it last year. So
I think that's a better game to sell, the Dodgers versus the Red Sox.
Yeah,
Than the
LA,
Brewers.
Boston.
Yeah, than the Brewers versus Astros or the Brewers versus Boston. The LA Boston thing would be good.
Yeah, we're getting on to our predictions.
Yeah, let's go to the predictions real quick. Did we have the predictions from last week? Because I forget how I did.
You did. You were 8-5.
8-5?
You were.
That's better. That's not bad.
I got 9 correct.
Oh. Well.
Yeah.
Hey, this still
we had a lot. We had a lot that were both correct.
If we were betting men, we would probably be up.
All right, you reading them off?
Yeah, sure. Let's go. Thursday night game: Broncos versus Cardinals.
I'm going. Where is this game? It's in Glendale. I want to say the Cardinals.
I'm gonna go Broncos. Okay, Titans at the Chargers.
Chargers.
Panthers at the Eagles.
I can't go against Cam. Panthers.
I'm gonna go with you too. Panthers. Eagles is not. They having that Super Bowl hangover. Vikings at the Jets.
Vikings.
Yeah, Vikings. Sorry, Jets. You're good, but I can't pick you.
That's my run ends with picking the Jets.
Worst game of the week: the Bills at the Colts.
Colts got to get one. They need one.
Colts will get one with Eric Anderson starting. Patriots at the Bears in Chicago.
Patriots.
The Browns at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Tampa needs it.
Tampa needs it. Cleveland needs it. I'm going with Cleveland.
Cleveland doesn't really need it, but Tampa needs it.
Cleveland needs it. Cleveland needs all the wins that they can get for all the losses that they've had over the past few years. I'm going with Cleveland.
They're going to be tanking soon.
Easy now. Don't tell that to Craig. Craig absolutely loves the Browns. Okay, so we got the Texans at the Jaguars.
I'm going with the Texans.
I think the Jags are going to be able to make a home stand and have a bounce-back game against the bad Texans team. Lions at the Dolphins.
Lions.
I'm going to go with Lions, too. I think they're going to spoil another AFC East team. So let's go with Saints at the Ravens. This is going to be a solid game.
Ooh, this is a tough one.
I might turn Red Zone off and watch this one.
I'm going to say the Ravens.
You know what? I'm going to say the Saints. We're good. Cowboys at Redskins.
Redskins.
Cowboys. Rams at 49ers.
Rams.
Bengals at the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Giants at the Falcons. Falcons for me as well.
We're out of here.
We didn't even know we had that.
I know. I thought.
Just say goodbye.
Bye,
guys. Guess we're over. Pedro came.